because we've seen the price action in Tesla, which has fallen on the back of worse than expected numbers. And I'm just so curious what you think is happening at Tesla right now, and whether, and there are some analysts out there that now have gotten bearish or starting to believe that we are at some kind of big inflection point.
Right. So I think a couple of things are going on. First, and Elon's been talking about this in the quarterly calls, the consumer is under pressure. There is, even though these economic statistics are coming out and saying everything's just fine, you listen to these company reports one by one, most of them do not sound like these economic statistics are suggesting. And I think Tesla's been telegraphing the high rates. They've been cutting prices to offset them. And they will continue to cut prices. So I think there's economic weakness. There has been a bit of a backlash, I would say, and a pause, because you do have GM and Ford saying, wait a minute, we're going to take a pause here ourselves because we can't do this profitably. By the way, that's a positive for Tesla, to have the competition doing this, and Tesla's just going full steam ahead. So I do think part of it's economic. And you can use all these other excuses. But if that is the case, what's going to happen, we believe, during the next 5 years, and that's our investment time horizon, we think the cost of an electric vehicle, the average electric vehicle, is going to be cut in half. And Tesla's new block manufacturing techniques and technology, along with AI, are a big part of this.
How much, and you've been buying on this weakness,
well,
if you want to call it that.
So as we were selling when it was around 400 and 350, when it's been cut in half, down 60%, is not the time to run for the hills. If you believe Tesla is going to be in this, we also believe, the autonomous taxi network.
So Tesla just revealed production and delivery numbers, and like Dan Ives said, it was a disaster. Today, we're talking about Tesla's numbers and what analysts think about this. So welcome to my channel, where I give you the latest Tesla news. Just because you can't see the finish line doesn't mean it's not there. Keep going. Eddie Pinero. Tesla said it produced 433,371 vehicles in the first quarter, down from 440,808 year over year. Tesla delivered 386,810 vehicles last quarter, down from 422,875 year over year, representing the first year-over-year decline in deliveries since 2020. The fourth quarter of 2023, Tesla reported production of 494,989 vehicles and 484,507 deliveries. Tesla said it produced 412,376 Model 3 and Model Y vehicles and 20,995 other models. The company delivered 369,783 Model 3 and Model Ys and 17,027 other models. Tesla said the decline in volumes was partially due to the early phase of the production ramp of the updated Model 3 at its Fremont factory, as well as the factory shutdowns resulting from shipping diversions caused by the Red Sea conflict and an arson attack at Giga Berlin. Tesla shares have been under pressure in recent months as the broader EV industry battles lower demand. Tesla's margins have also been hurt by the price war with competitors. The EV maker reported worse than expected results in January and turned in disappointing delivery numbers. Shares appeared to be reacting negatively on Tuesday to continued weakness in deliveries.
Hey, look, I mean, for the long term, like in terms of the actual opportunity for EV, for full self-driving, for autonomous, that's still there. But let's just call it like it is. This is no smoke and mirror. I mean, if you looked up train wreck in the dictionary, you'd see a picture of Tesla's 1Q quarter. And, I think the big problem is deliveries. How do you reverse the trend? And that's why I believe this is a fork in the road. In other words, Musk either turns this around, whether it's cutting prices, put the strategy in place, or David, I think we sit here maybe 3-4 quarters from now and this was actually a seminal moment and the start of what could be some darker days ahead if they do not turn this around.
All right, but what does the turnaround look like? You say cutting prices. Clearly, they're facing more competition from Chinese EV makers, not just in the domestic Chinese market. So what do you do if you're Tesla?
I think you have to lay out the strategy. Okay, what are price cuts going to look like? When are the new models coming? What could software be as a percent of revenue? What's the AI roadmap? Right now, it's essentially playing darts blindfolded.
Analysts are anticipating earnings of 60 cents per share on revenue of $24.067 billion, according to Benzinga. Tesla shares tumbled more than 5% on Tuesday after Tesla reported delivery figures, and that fell short. The data from the China Passenger Car Association indicated that the electric vehicle maker sold 89,064 China-made cars in the country during the month of March, according to Dow Jones Newswire. That was up 0.2% from the year before. Although Tesla sales were roughly flat from the year earlier, overall EV sales in China rose 33%. So, Gene Munster shares his bull case for Tesla.
But our next guest sees today's news as a test of investor patience. Managing partner of Deepwater Asset Management and Fast Money friend Gene Munster joins us now. And Gene, you personally are amongst those legions of investors whose patience will be tested. So what are you waiting for?
Indeed. Melissa, first, I am bracing as someone who's been supportive of what Tesla's doing and optimistic about where this company can go. I was just stunned today. I think that this caught me off guard. I was expecting it basically to be flat. Deliveries is down 9%. And the first question I asked, first order of business, is how bad is it going to get? The panel's done a great job of articulating there's going to be more negativity. I just want to put that in a context, is that going into today, the street was looking for about 15% delivery growth in 2024. If you look at the numbers they just reported and assume that they can grow deliveries 10% sequentially for the rest of the year, deliveries will be down 3% for the year. So this is probably more ugly than it seems even today. And given that change and look what happened in the stock, I don't think that's fully priced in. So I think, Dan, you've been clear about that $100. I don't think we're going to see 100, but I do believe that the stock is going to go lower because this is going to be what I think is going to be kind of the kitchen sink where you're going to see analysts. I had that job for a long time, throw in the towel and say that this is going to be over for a long time. So I want to start there. Second is the bigger picture. And I think, Tim, you were talking about just, this EV and the EV picture. Just to frame that in, that's a $2.5 trillion market. What's the auto market on a yearly basis? Eventually, of course, it's going to go EV. Panel appropriately talked about what's the timing of that. I think it's going to come faster than most people think, even though this is such an ugly day on the delivery numbers. And the reason is that I believe one of the biggest factors in this horrible number was that there was so much excitement around EVs. People who typically buy a car every 5 years probably moved it forward and bought it 3 years, pulled a lot of demand in. I think eventually that just starts. I'm guilty of being too optimistic, but I think eventually they get to the other side. And one final thought, Dan, you talked about FSD. I agree that is an important piece here. If anybody's tried FSD, the beta that they just put out last week, it is a step function better than what they've ever done. And so I think that is going to come probably in the next year or two. And I believe that that's going to be another catalyst. So that's where I'm at.
So what can Tesla and Elon Musk do to reverse the slumping in the stock? I would say FSD needs to advance and become completely full self-driving. I also think, and analysts agree with this, is the acceleration of the development of the Model 2 program. The car is not due until it hits the streets until 2025, maybe later. Gary Black mentioned that Musk needs an Apple-like strategy to convince drivers why they should go electric. Gary Black also mentioned advertising costs money, but so do price cuts. Tesla's recent price cuts have cost the company some $20 billion in sales, according to Barron's estimate. Lower prices boost sales volume, but price cuts amounting to more than $10,000 per car multiplied by 1.8 million units sold over the past year imply a huge number. Now, Cathie Wood said this.
And just think about this. Tesla's doing it profitably and cutting prices in the process. It's pretty phenomenal. Can I just go the convergence idea?
Yeah.
One more. Robots, energy storage, they will be electric, 75, 85% in 5 years. And then artificial intelligence. This is the biggest AI project in the world. If NVIDIA is worth what it's worth, and we believe it's worth what the market's
Not
paying
above
for.
it. On NVIDIA.
We think it's going to have an inventory correction out there. It happens regularly.
Okay.
You know, we've been through very many inventory cycles. I have over the years with NVIDIA. So definitely going to see an inventory cycle as companies reassess, okay, wait, how do we get ready for this AI age? And there is a reassessment process. We're going through it ourselves. But if NVIDIA if its valuation is correct, this AI project has to work.
What is Tesla worth? If you were willing to sell it at $300 or $400 and you're buying it now, what is it worth in 5 years?
2000, we're in print on that.
We need to look at the rest of the industry, even though the mainstream media is blowing this out of proportion. In the same quarter, BYD dropped deliveries by 43% and GM by 20%. Also, Tesla just passed BYD as the world's best-selling EV producer with 387,000 vehicles, while BYD sold 300,000. So the question investors are asking, is Tesla a technology company or a car company? Well, I think Tesla is both. It's a technology company and it's a car company. It shouldn't have to be one or the other. So what is your opinion? Let me know in the comments. So I want to thank you so much for being here. My name is Claudia. If you would like to see what some Tesla bulls said about Tesla and the future, you could watch this next. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Goodbye.